the ball like it was nothing.
Clark wanted the whistle, gets the bucket. The fans wanted it too.
She's a little shaken up on that play too.
Stokes in the corner. Clark couldn't even make a move to try to keep Burton off that rebound, and Clark is very upset. Gerda Gatling is giving Caitlin Clark a very long leash on the way she's reacting.
I'll be honest with you. I'm starting to get concerned about Caitlin Clark. If I was the diva of Dump Divas, Kat Engelbert, I would be very concerned about Caitlin Clark. If I was Kathy Engelbert, I would have been concerned about the Great White Hope 2 years ago. Now, of course, Kat Engelbert refuses to protect her greatest asset because I think she is afraid of being accused of mythical racism. She can't show favoritism to the Great White Hope because that wouldn't be equitable. We are the Equity League. We're all stars. Everyone's a winner in the WNBA. The W stands for winner. I have watched that sequence countless times this morning. I didn't really think the foul was that egregious. It damn sure didn't look to be intentional, but that's only because I'm comparing it to the vicious abuse that Caitlin Clark has taken over the last 3 years. When you compare a moderate knee tap to Al Thomas attempting to dissect Caitlin Clark's esophagus, the moderate knee tap, it's not so bad in comparison. But I don't think Caitlin Clark's overreaction last night was really about the missed foul call. I know her critics are claiming, I'm tired of this white girl whining. All she does is complain. Have you been paying attention to this dump of a league? The WNBA is filled with professional complainers. The WNBA is filled with unknown players pretending to be the ultimate victim. I'm the victim of misogyny. I'm the victim of racism. I'm the victim of unathleticism. I'm the victim of anonymity. I wore a name tag at my family reunion and my parents still didn't recognize me. Does Caitlin Clark complain a lot, at least recently? Yes. Are the meltdowns increasing? Are the temper tantrums, the loss of emotional control, the frustration, is that increasing? Absolutely. As she was coming out of the game last night, Caitlin Clark was visibly frustrated. She decided to practice her taekwondo on the poor table instead of using her self-defense skills on the jealous WNBA players who keep attacking her. Then she refuses to shake hands with head coach Steph White. And who in the hell can blame her? As I'm watching Caitlin Clark arguing with officials last night again, I'm wondering, where in the hell is her head coach? Where is her supposed leader? You don't want your star player being thrown out of the game for arguing with some referee who's making minimum wage. But Caitlin Clark has to argue with officials. She has to defend herself because her doofus head coach is suffering from temporary muteness and temporary blindness. Every time Caitlin Clark gets fouled and there is no call, Stephanie White is suddenly blind and mute. I didn't see anything, Kate. I was scrolling through my latest matches on OnlyFans. After the game last night, where the Indiana Fever lost to the Golden State Vikings and Caitlin Clark struggled, The Great White Hope spoke with the media, and they asked about her altercation with the WNBA official, or as they are classified by Human Resources, part-time employees. You want to know why the officiating in this dump of a league is the drizzling shits? Hell, the only thing worse than the basketball is the officiating. But at least the officials have an excuse. They're not making money. Referees in the WNBA are part-time employees making less than $50,000 a year. Is it any wonder why they can't get competent officials? Anyway, Caitlin Clark addressed the altercation after the game, but I want you to pay very close attention to Sophie Cunningham, because she appears to be just as frustrated as Caitlin Clark. Watch for yourself.
You hopped in the back?
Quad. Like, that hurts. Like, the ref can't miss that, and then I have to play with a contusion in my leg the rest of the game. Like, it's ridiculous. Can't miss calls like that.
Did they give you an explanation right after when you went up to him?
I initiated the contact. Which is fine. You can't knee me in the leg, knock me over.
I think what we are witnessing right now with Caitlin Clark is death by 1,000 cuts, or in her case, death by 1,000 fists. When people think of divorce, whether it's a business marriage or a personal marriage, when you think of the dissolution of a relationship, we often think the relationship ends because of a cataclysmic event. Infidelity, scandal, fraud. Maybe your wife is suddenly attracted to one of the masculine wives in the WNBA. But oftentimes, relationships don't end because of one major problem. Relationships often end from a series of small problems. Things that seem minor, things that seem inconsequential in the moment. Those minor problems go unresolved. Over time, the frustration, the resentment starts to build. Next thing you know, your only star is crashing out on a consistent basis. Just think about everything Caitlin Clark has dealt with in the last 3 years. Her first month in the dump. Jealous WNBA players were overly physical with her. Breanna Stewart sent Caitlin Clark crashing to the floor after setting a hard screen. A couple of days later, one of the unknown players from the Seattle Spankers chest bumped Caitlin Clark, resulting in a brief altercation. Then, Kennedy Carter, who was recently fired and essentially banned from the WNBA, Ken Carter, she attacked Caitlin Clark away from the ball, away from the play, by driving her shoulder into Caitlin Clark from behind and knocking her to the floor. A couple of weeks later, Angel Reese goes for a block, hits Caitlin Clark in the face. August of 2024, some unknown named Diamond DeShields, who's probably selling fake diamonds at the mall by now, Diamond DeShields viciously attacked Caitlin Clark. Jackie Young elbows Caitlin Clark in the face. Dejanay Carrington pokes Caitlin Clark in the eye. Now, at the time, this behavior was excused by the WNBA and their pretend friends in the mainstream media. Don't worry, Kate. We get physical with all our rookies. We're just initiating you into our league here in the W. The ladies love to get physical with each other. June of 2025, no longer her rookie season. Caitlin Clark gets poked in the eye again. You know, it's amazing. I watch a lot of NBA games. I wouldn't say it's necessarily uncommon, but it's definitely not common for NBA players to get poked in the eye. Yet, somehow, in the span of 12 months, Caitlin Clark was poked in the eye twice. What a coincidence! Of course, this year you had Al Thomas giving Caitlin Clark a nice throat massage, but the more prominent story this season is the breaking down of Caitlin Clark. Obviously, she is breaking down physically, but I would be more concerned with Caitlin Clark breaking down mentally. Anyone in her situation, they would be reacting the same way. This young woman is treated like shit, and no one does a damn thing about it. And I'm not saying this as one of her fanboys. I like Caitlin Clark, but I'm not a fan. The only reason I watch Caitlin Clark is because you guys like to hear me talk about her. Otherwise, I promise you, I would spend my time doing just about anything else. But like I have been telling you guys all season, the spark is gone. The magic is gone. For the first time in her brief WNBA career, the league seems to be getting to Caitlin Clark. I would imagine that she feels helpless. You gotta remember, Caitlin Clark is only 24 years old. She has the weight of the entire league on her shoulders. The success of the WNBA is dependent on the success of Caitlin Clark. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, they dealt with a lot of pressure as the face of the NBA, but the existence of the league, it was never their responsibility. They elevated the league, but the NBA would survive with or without them. The pressure on Caitlin Clark is unimaginable. Meanwhile, she's also forced to deal with jealous players who are now being vastly overpaid thanks to Caitlin Clark, and the league doesn't do a damn thing about it. You know, Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA what YouTube is to us content creators. Facebook is nice. TikTok is okay. Twitter is somewhat decent. Rumble is completely useless. But YouTube will always be my top priority. Throughout my day, I make sure YouTube is taken care of first, then I will focus on the other platforms. Why? Because YouTube takes care of me. The other platforms, they're a bonus. You see, YouTube offers me a television audience. Viewers on YouTube, they are looking to be entertained. They are looking for long-form content. The other platforms, viewers are looking for instant gratification. The pay difference between a television audience and an internet audience, which is what the other platforms offer, the television audience pays significantly more. So YouTube will always be my top priority. How come Caitlin Clark is not the WNBA's top priority? How come Caitlin Clark is not the primary focus? I know the WNBA wants to be the equity league. I know they want to make sure everyone feels important, everyone feels like a star, but equity is the fastest way to bankruptcy. The better question is, how much more can Caitlin Clark take? That foul last night, the no call, it wasn't egregious. I know she was hurt on the play, but this was incidental contact. But because of her history, because of everything she has been through, Caitlin Clark is on edge. And because of that, it doesn't take much for the frustration to become visible. How much more can she take? How much more can Caitlin Clark deal with before it becomes too much? Once you reach the burnout stage, it's too late. There is no turning back. And from the outside looking in, Caitlin Clark seems to be dangerously close. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.